be here, and as we travel across the country and see all of the patriots out there that are willing to fight for our country here at home and make sure that the freedoms our men and women have fought and bled and died for are still here when they come back home. How many of you are here because you want to use your voice to make a difference in America? And how many of you are here because you want to use your vote to make a difference in America? And I can tell by looking out in the crowd, there's those of you who chose to not only use your vote and your voice, but you chose to use your lives to make a difference in America. And that's our men and women serving in the military. If you have served or are serving, would you wave your hands high and keep waving them so we can thank you? Those are our men and women who are willing to give up their lives for you and for me and for the freedoms that we have in America. Make sure when we're done that you give them a big hug and tell them thank you. Maybe take them to dinner, buy them a cup of coffee, because those are America's true heroes. I would like to tell you about another one of America's heroes, and that's my son, Mark Allen Lee, who was the first Navy SEAL that was killed in Iraq, August 2nd, 2006. Mark stood about 6 foot tall. He weighed about 200 pounds, but in addition to his own weight, he carried the big gun. So he carried anywhere from 150 to 180 pounds in addition to his own weight. The day that he willingly gave up his life, it was 115, 120 degrees outside. They had been in the most intense battle in Ramadi, Iraq up to that point. It was a firefight that went on for about 2 hours, a very fierce firefight. And there were 4 of the SEALs that were up on the rooftop. Mark's buddy Ryan had been severely injured, and they could tell by looking at him it didn't look good. They didn't know if he'd survive the next few moments, let alone have a productive life. So Mark made the choice to stand up into the direct line of fire, hoping they would fire on him so they could get the medic up to the rooftop. The medic did get up to the rooftop, and he evaluated the situation and said, "We got to get Ryan out here immediately, or there's no chance for survival." So not once, but a second time, Mark made that choice to stand up into the direct line of fire, hoping to provide the cover so they could get down off the roof. They did get down off that roof, and they went back to the base. And I'm proud to tell you that today, in Ramadi, Iraq, there's a base named after my son, Camp Mark Lee. The privilege of going to Iraq in Christmas 2007, and when the SEALs heard I was in country, they sent a helicopter for me and took me to Camp Mark Lee. And I got to see where he walked, see where he slept, and I brought home some of that soil where this young man willingly gave up his life. But as they came in back to the base, the chief came in and he said, "We just found 30 of the insurgents that just attacked us. Are you guys up to going back out?" Now remember, it was 115, 120 degrees. They'd been in intense battle for 2 hours. They just seen their buddy severely injured, and they didn't know if it would be a mortal injury. If it would have been me, I'd have said, "You know what, there's a Marine base on the other side of our camp. Why don't you go find some Marines who haven't been out in the last 24 hours, who are fresh and ready for battle?" But that wasn't my son's character. He looked his chief in the eye, and he said, "Roger that. Let's go get him." So they went back into Ramadi. They cleared several houses, and they went in the last house that Mark would be in that day. They cleared the bottom of the house and started to go up the steps, and Mark said, "Wait, I want to take the lead on this one." And as he led the guys up the stairs, they took fire through a window. And for the last and final time, Mark made the choice to turn into the line of fire, to defend his buddies. But he didn't do that just for his buddies. He did that for each and every one of you. He did that for me. He did that for this country that he so loves. And folks, we can't waste the sacrifice of what all of these men and women who've raised their hands, of what my son's given, of there's so many that have laid down their lives. We've got to make sure that we keep those freedoms that they have fought and they have bled and they have died for, that our government's trying to take away from us. I founded America's Mighty Warriors in response to my son's last letter home. Mark's name means mighty warrior, and I'm sure you'll agree he definitely lived up to his name. But it's not just about Mark. It's about each and every one of those who sacrificed. Whether it's their time away from their families, whether it's their limbs, their vision, whether it's their lives. They've given everything for their freedoms. I've given my very best for this country, and we can't let them down. There are political insurgents in Washington, D.C., and I want to know from each one of you, will you have the same response that my son had? Will you say, Roger that, let's go get him?
Roger that, let's go get him!
I'm a very proud American, and I would fight and die for this country if need be. But we've got to make a stand. We have seen it from when we left Searchlight, Nevada, as we've come across the United States. There is a huge tsunami of others just like you guys. We're ready to take our country back. And I think Washington, D.C. has no clue what's going to hit them in November 2010. We would like to continue our tribute right now to our men and women who've served, who've sacrificed, and who've given so much. America's true heroes that have given everything they could for you and for me. And to do that, I'd like to call Ron and Kay Rivoli back up so we can do a song that they have written called Freedom is Not Free.
Debbie Lee.